Have you ever walked past a small group of people and all of a sudden it goes really, really quiet? Nobody makes eye contact with you. And all of a sudden, as you go past, the group disbands really abruptly along the way as well. You kind of feel like there's something going on. Hello, my name is Lee, and I'm the founder of High Performance Coaching and Training. So today's topic is all about gossiping. It's how gossiping can destroy the workplace or even your own family dynamics along the way as well. I always remember an amazing story which had a really big impact on me, and it was a movie that I had watched, and it was called A Doubt. And the scene of the movie was there was a priest, and he was being accused of, through gossip, of misbehaving, with young children along the way as well. And it was all based on gossip. There was no facts there. There was no evidence there. And of course, it was starting to destroy, his confidence and destroy, his reputation and everything else involved with it, to the level that he was going to be stood down from his position of being a priest from his church. Anyway, the scene went that he was actually having a sermon, he was having a conversation, and he was talking about gossip. And he put it in a story, because we know that metaphors are very powerful at delivering messages to your audience. And this is the story. It went like this. There was a young boy, and the young boy came home from school one day, and he was crying, and he was really upset, and he was quite withdrawn. And, of course, his parents had noticed the behaviour of this child. And as the child entered the house, they went and they asked him, what was troubling him, what was wrong with him. And the child looked up, really upset, and started crying. And he said that, I just lost my best friend, Joe. There's no longer my friend, and I'm really upset because I've just lost my best friend. And of course, the parents, took the child and consoled the child. And after a little while, when the child could speak, they started to ask him some questions of what happened with Joe and being his best friend. And he said that we wanted to be in a group with some of the cool kids, with his other kids, and they were talking about Joe, and they were gossiping about Joe and saying nasty things to about Joe, and he joined in the conversation. So he wanted to belong. He wanted to be part of this cool kid group. And he joined in, and he didn't back up his friend. And he was so sad because Joe had heard about the conversation, and he found out that his friend was involved in that as well. So Joe no longer wants to be friends with him. Then his father said to him, that's really, really a sad story. And he goes, I want you to do something for me. I want you to go upstairs, and I want you to bring down your best favorite pillow, the one that you treasure the most, and bring it down to me. So the child went upstairs, and the child got the pillow and brought the pillow down to his father. And his father walked up to the window, grabbed a knife, and cut open the pillow. And the feathers flew everywhere. There was feathers everywhere because a wind and gust had come up, and the feathers were being carried away. And then the father said to the child, what you need to do now is you need to go and gather back every single feather. You need to find every single feather and bring it back to me. So we put it back in your pillow. And the child looked up. The child was astonished. The child says, how do you think I can go and find every single feather? Because that's really impossible for me to do. That's something that's not possible for me to do. Anyway, the father says, yes, and that's what gossip is about. Once you say the words, you cannot retract them, and you cannot bring all the effects back again. So be careful of what you say, because once the word is spoken, they are so powerful, and they can be destroying as well as lifting up and encouraging as well. So the father said, always remember this experience that you've had, and never forget it, and treasure your friends, and be careful of who you become when you want to get involved with other groups as well. And I thought it was just an amazing story, and it left a really huge impact on me as well. So the question is, why do people gossip? Why do we get caught up with this unproductive gossip that's destroying? And the answer to that is simply people like attention and they like drama. If they're not getting attention in a positive way, they're going to get their needs met by getting attention through negative ways. So what they do is they start to gossip because people then, they're focused on them. But wouldn't it be a better workplace if people were focusing on each other because they were being high performers, that they were productive, and that they're wanting to create a fantastic work environment instead of a negativity environment along the way as well. But you know what? Often I ask people, what do they want? And, you know, myself being an executive coach and also a trainer, and, you know, probably about 80% of people don't know what they want. They don't know their goals. So how else are they going to fill in their time? They're going to do it by gossiping along the way as well. In the workplace, people also gossip because they hold grudges. They hold grudges and grievances with their fellow colleagues and even their leaders along the way as well. And this can occur if someone has been overlooked by a promotion, or they feel like they've missed an opportunity within the company, and someone else has bypassed them, so they will hold that grudge and they'll do whatever they need to do to destroy the reputation of that person who was successful in gaining that opportunity, because it actually gives them, it justifies why they've missed out along the way as well. The other thing is they just feel like, you know, they want to pull people down. We often hear about the tall poppy syndrome. So often, you know, once we become leaders and organisations and also the high performers, we can also be targets along the way as well. So then the question goes, what's the difference between chit-chat and what's the difference between gossiping? So how do you know if you're just involved with someone who's venting or someone who just want to do some chit-chatting, and people who are actually gossiping as well? So there's a couple of ways that you can look at these. Some questions you can ask yourself to find that answer out is, the first question is, does the chit-chat rejoice in the misfortune of others? And if the answer is yes, then it's gossip. Does the conversation seem to lead to negativity that could create conflict within the organisation? If the answer is yes, then it's gossip. Does it discredit, hurt, or damage the person that you're talking about? And if the answer is yes, then it's gossip. And would you have the conversation in front of that person? And if you wouldn't, then yes, it's gossip. So we all know within organisations, and when we work with different personality types, there's always going to be some form of conflict within the organisation as well. And that's something that we can't get rid of. But one of the most important things is having the skill sets to manage that conflict effectively. And here are 7 ways that you can actually look at setting up some sort of policies or procedures, or some of the key behaviours that you can do to actually stop the gossiping from spreading within your workplace along the way as well. The first one is really, it's about you. It's about setting an example. For example, do you get involved with the gossip yourself, or have you ever been a creator of gossip within your organisation? When you see other people are gossiping, do you change the subject to something that's perhaps more positive, or do you change the subject and you start validating that person and start holding them up and talking about the qualities they have, instead of being caught in the negative messaging that's being communicated in that moment? So simply don't engage with the gossip or the conversation around the gossiping person's having as well. Or do you just simply walk away from that situation? You vote with your feet. You walk away, so therefore you're communicating the message that you're not interested in being part of the gossip, and that you're a person who wants to actually demonstrate that by taking action and walking away. And you find that if you do that often, then people who gossip won't seek you out as an ally at all. they'll actually exclude you from the gossiping, which is something that you're after along the way as well. Do you address the offenders yourself? Do you have the courage to have those conversations that are honest and direct, and you would have that in private, and maybe you will talk about what's going on for that person, and again you'd steer it towards looking at solutions and not staying in the positive along the way as well, and maybe even have a conversation around the topic of gossiping and how it can affect the morale and everything else of the organisation as well. Do you escalate the situation if a person's continually gossiping and trying to divide the company? Do you escalate that to someone who is an immediate leader of yours, or someone in the organisation who has the work ethic and the focus to create a healthy workplace, ensuring everyone supports the values of the company and also the key behaviours of the company as well? Or if you are a leader yourself, in your next team meeting, do you actually raise that topic? Raise up, how gossiping can destroy, demoralise the company and create a non-productive company as well. Do you have a conversation about that and set some expectations and boundaries that you want your team to abide by along the way as well? Or are you in a position to actually impose policies on the organisation? And a lot of organisations today, they have a zero tolerance policy in the workplace for gossiping. So many companies today, they protect their employees from disclosing sensitive information and get caught up in gossiping as well. And if, for example, a manager is actually caught disclosing confidential information that leads to workplace gossip about an employee, that manager, faces the risk of disciplinary action or even termination along the way as well. So, these are things to start to look at, but just be aware of the gossiping. Don't get caught in the gossiping and lead by example of yourself as well. Are you wanting to maintain a healthy environment and develop your leaders and teams? I do have a workshop coming up, which is my 6-week bootcamp workshop, Conflict 101, and it's on-demand training, and I'll put a link in above the video to let you know of information about that if that interests you as well. Remember, we can't avoid conflict, but we certainly can manage it by having the right skills and the approaches around conflict as well. I want to leave you with a quote today, which I find very inspiring, and the quote is, "Leadership is not a position of title. It is action and example." So I hope you enjoyed yourself today. I enjoyed listening to the video today, and I'll talk to you again very soon. Take care. Bye.